These two grown men had never seen the Simpsons. How the fuck's that even happen? They're two grown men on a mission now, so buckle up and just strap in.
By itself, it's just a cold metallic thing. Only love can make a golden wedding ring.
These two grown men had never seen the Simpsons. It's America's barley basket.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of America's Barley Basket. I'm your host, Marlon Wells, alongside host Nathan Fulsabach. Hello, Nathan.
Hello, Marlon.
How are ya?
I am looking at my face in this Zoom meeting right now. I'll tell you what, Zoom is very forgiving with gray hair. I got the vibrant hair of a 30-year-old Nathan.
Yeah, you're looking real deep brown. Not a lot of whites. Yeah.
Yes. See it in the chin. I kind of look like a fat General Custer, like with the flowing hair, and apparently I haven't been trimming my chin hairs enough compared to everything else, so it's a little fuller in the chin.
Yep, you're a little pointed down in the chin area. Yeah. You look like a fat Wild Bill Hickok.
There you go. Maybe that's more who I'm thinking of. Yeah. Yeah. He had the flowing lettuce too.
Oh yeah. I bet that you could find there's been enough paintings of both of them that you could probably confuse the two. Like you could probably fool somebody with some flashcards.
I think the Wild Bill Hickok works better because I think he usually had a full beard.
Okay.
That's and then Custer would do the big mustache chin, the actual goatee look, I think, a lot.
Okay.
That sound right?
If you say so. I had it the other way in my head, but
okay.
Between the two of us, we're at least half right.
Yeah, somewhere the truth lies in between. That's our next podcast. Us two doing a fucking investigative fucking true crime with my work ethic would be so awful. Just always making assumptions for the sake of ease. Yeah, he probably...
A true crime podcast where you don't fucking even bother with dates and stuff.
He looks like the kind of guy that ate a kid, okay?
Yeah.
I couldn't go to the courthouse.
And this guy, I don't know, he killed a couple people in like 70 or 74, one or the other. Anyway.
His mom, his wife's mom, someone's mom, who gives a shit?
Yeah, there was a dead mom. I don't know. I didn't bother. Just the worst research shit.
We start siding with them. It's like, he was right. These are lesser people. You know how hard it was to find anything on this lady?
Some people deserve to be eaten, and that's okay. Like, we can all just say it. A fella's got to eat, right?
Yeah.
It's funny. We got a very positive, very nice review on Apple Podcasts. Which, if you like this show, you should go to Apple Podcasts and give us a 5-star and a little review. But someone posted one recently that said, I'm paraphrasing, but said something along the lines of the two of them never 100% get something right. I think it was maybe in reference to like pop culture references, because we do play pretty fast and loose with the I think that's who sang that anyway.
Yeah. Moving on. We got a lot of content to get through. We can't dive deep into the details.
Exactly. We can't get thrown off by semantics, like
by the truth.
Yeah. Who's got the time for the truth?
Sounds exhausting. Moving on.
Exciting news out of this camp, Nathan, in reference to last week's podcast. If you'll think back, if you'll let your mind drift back to last week's podcast, I was out today, this very day, like less than 3 hours ago. I found myself out running some errands and stopped at a gas station to get something to drink. And I was walking past the candy aisle, and there it was, Necco wafers.
Oh.
As we talked about last week, I had no idea what a Necco wafer is, had no basis of comparison. So I bought a roll of Necco wafers, Nathan, and I was sitting in my car, and I opened it up, And I knew what I was in for as soon as I got my hands on it, because it was like, not like a plastic wrapper, but kind of that weird
cellophane.
Yeah, no, not like a Smarties, not clear.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, yep.
But that weird, waxy, cloudy, like that cheap taffy is
taffy. That was my first thought. Was taffy? Yeah.
Yeah, like cheap saltwater taffy is in, and I was like, okay, this lets me know kind of where we're gonna be at here. And Necco wafers about the size of a quarter, both in diameter and in thickness. They're real thin.
Okay.
And I ate 3 of them and threw them away. Though that's a garbage candy. That is a bottom tier. It's one of those, oh, this is candy from before candy was invented.
Yeah. This is take what you can get candy.
Yeah, it's like, oh, this is the bike rim and a stick of toys, but for candy. Like,
how would you describe it?
So I would describe it as a candy cigarette if you pounded it flat into that shape, because it was the same like chewable but very crunchy. Meant to be chewed, not to be sucked, as far as I can tell. But taste, and I think maybe the different colors are different flavors, but they all tasted like a combination of black licorice and Pepto-Bismol. Like that old candy flavor.
Oh, no shit. Now I want to try. In my head, I was thinking they were like tart or fruit flavored, but.
Nope, not at all. They all tasted like black licorice and candy cigarette. Like that. Because, like, a candy cigarette, or like even some like old-timey bubble gums that have like white powder on them have a little bit of a Pepto taste to them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what they tasted like. I had 3 and I was like, nope, we're done.
God, I should have had you save them. Now I'm curious because I like black licorice, but I don't like Pepto-Bismol as a treat.
Yeah, they were horrible. They were an awful candy.
Like having, after a good meal, like a shot of fucking Pepto-Bismol as a digestive, as a dessert. Oh yeah,
no, I'll sit around. I'll have 3 or 4 Pepto on the rocks. Get a little nice rum chata and Pepto, like a real.
In college, we used to do Pepto barrels where we drop a whole stick of Rolos into a pint glass of Pepto and chug it.
Oh, that's horrible.
God. Driving by like a college rental house, there's a bunch of kids on the front step doing that. Like, is that Pepto?
What the hell are these kids doing?
Holy, you're a better man than I if you could keep that down.
I mean, the Pepto should help with that, right?
Yeah.
That should help ease the tum-tum.
God, that'd be gnarly. That's too much Pepto. A pint glass of Pepto is so gnarly.
Oh, tried to choke all that down. Just,
Getting into an Uber and projectile vomiting on the guy's windshield. Like, fucking, what? Are those Rolos?
Why are they whole? How are they whole?
Are you the devil? Like, what's going on? None of this makes sense.
So much pink in my car. Looks like a fucking Pink Panther insulation commercial. What have you done to my vehicle? Oh, shit.
My Sonata, it's ruined.
From what I understand, it is not unheard of for people to put alcohol in their, is it Maalox, that minty white chalky one? That's
really?
Also a stomach thing.
Yeah.
I've heard tell of like pretty hardcore alcoholics putting a little hooch in their Maalox.
Jesus Christ.
Maalox? Maalox.
Maalox.
Yeah.
Yep. That's an old grandpa fucking, medicine cabinet.
Do they still make Maalox?
Yeah, I bet they do. You dig deep into the fucking catacombs of a drugstore. There's a couple jugs. I think they still make Campo Finique. Do you remember Campo Finique at all?
No, what the fuck is that?
Tiny little pint glass little, I don't know if you call it a bottle, jar. I mean, tiny, like bigger, two thimbles together is how big it would be. And as a kid, you got stung by a bee, mom would swab some Campho-Phenique on it. You got a burn, little Campho-Phenique. It's probably just a fucking placebo. But like when mom got that thing out, okay, she's kind of a doctor. Right. Yeah. But just swab a little of that on. When I was like in my early 30s, I was home and the same little container of that had existed since I was 5 years old was still in the medicine cabinet.
Still in there.
Just covered in grime at this point. Like,
I think when I was a kid, I think Bactine was the fix-it-all. That was the whatever fucking spray some Bactine. Bactine is the WD-40 of the medicine cabinet.
Yeah, Bactine. Well, you got into some poison ivy, Bactine it up. You got too much sunburn, but a little Bactine on it.
Bug bite, sore throat, get some Bactine in the back of there. Yeah, really.
Oh, God. Remember how much a sore throat would just kick your ass when you were like 6 years old?
Uh-huh. Doing the chloroseptic spritz down the back of your throat all day.
Remember, I would like get anxiety thinking, okay, you're going to have to swallow eventually. It would just hurt so bad. Like, maybe it hurts the same. It's just we have so many other pains now that it just blends into. It's just a cacophony of just shitty living.
Yeah. Oh, a sore throat doesn't hurt as bad anymore because all of my bones are melting.
Yep. My fucking liver looks like an ashtray. God, fucking man. Back in the days of having a Gem Mint 10 liver, like just by being 8 years old, your internal organs are just fucking kicking ass. Yeah, like insides are still pink.
Lungs are just fucking bright bubblegum pink. Yeah.
Oh, I miss having
so
pink
elastic.
organs.
Oh, the elasticity of a child's lungs.
Just doesn't wheeze all the time. Oh my God.
Not snoring so hard you're gonna die.
I wonder how old I was when my knees last didn't make noise when I bent them. My knees sound like me sitting on a wicker chair. It's just a crushing sound of fibers ripping.
Did somebody throw an Easter basket into the fireplace? No, Nathan's getting up out of his chair.
Yeah. And like I don't even have to have, like, if I just lay in bed and have my legs straight in the air and bend the knee, I can just hear it clear as day.
Yeah. Click.
Just stuff
click.
Crushing.
Ugh. Yeah. Time gets us all, Nathan.
Some of us are putting harder miles on than others too.
Yeah, there's, it's not the years, it's the miles for some people.
Some of us should be changing our oil more often.
Oh, shit. So yeah, Necco wafers, no stars. Thumbs down. Do not recommend a Necco wafer.
Out of 5 stars, it gets 0 stars. That's a pretty condemning review.
Well, I'm not, like, if I were to actually get, it's 1 star. I'm not a 0-star person, but like, it gets a 1 out of me.
Because somewhere there's someone wrapping cat turds in cellophane and selling it as a fucking boutique candy. So there has to be room below.
Oh, it's an old family recipe. Yeah.
Sure it was. You're just a weirdo.
Why is it called Freckles? It's the name of the cat.
And Freckles was hungry this winter. He made so many treats for my friends.
Oh, God.
Oh. You know who doesn't manufacture cat shit and sell it as candy?
Who's that, Nathan?
The Simpsons.
Oh, right. A family we talk about on this show.
We're in season 28 of The Simpsons.
Coming off a fucking banger batch.
Yeah, this season 28 definitely is starting off on a higher note than season 27 did. What are we, fall of 2016 or 2017 at this point?
16.
Okay, yep. And we're in episode 6 of season 28, There Will Be Buds. We're at a sporting event, Pee-wee football. There is a fog machine mishap on the field, so the kids can't see anything, and all we hear is helmet hitting helmet. Lots of kids bonking heads. And now the parents are all worried about the kids getting hurt playing football. They got to bring them all to the emergency room. As Springfield quickly does, they have a town hall meeting to discuss alternatives to football. I wonder, like, I bet this is, like, I see ripped from the headlines. I bet it's a big thing. Like, how young is too young for football? You know, like,
I definitely remember hearing when we first started worrying about concussions, you know, like when we culturally, like when we first were like, oh, wait, maybe not. Like, I remember hearing stories of, like, maybe not peewee, but at least youth and even high school football numbers flailing.
Yeah.
Like, oh, kids aren't playing football anymore because turns out maybe it's bad for you. Ask fucking Tua.
Turning your brains to mush when you're fucking 13. Turns out it's still developing.
Turns out you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I did like the panic of Springfield, though, and every mom, like, with their child running for the MRI machine.
Yeah.
That was a fun visual.
Trying to stuff them all in at once.
Also, really enjoyed that the name of the stadium that they play Pee Wee football in is called Child Soldier Field. That's very funny. That's
a good play on words.
A real good joke.
So there's a meeting. No one knows what to do. There's lots of rabble going on. The whole time Kirk is quietly trying to plead his case, and no one listens to Kirk because why would they? He's been ignored his entire life. And I think it's Marge that kind of like tells Homer, like, hey, you know, help, like, you know, get their attention. He does. I don't know. He makes some kind of scene to get everyone's eyes to the front of the room. And that's when Kirk walks up there. And Kirk decides to explain lacrosse. He explains how it works real quickly, but then what sells them is he unzips a duffel bag and dumps Milhouse out. And it's like, even he can learn how to play. And he's holding the stick, like fling things at him, and they're throwing shit at him, and he's catching it all with the stick. And like that, Springfield decides that it loves lacrosse, and it makes Kirk the new youth lacrosse coach with Homer as his assistant.
How much interest or exposure or history do you have with lacrosse?
No, nothing. I have little. I get how it works. I don't know the minutia of the rules.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. Me neither.
It's like almost like hockey. You know, like there's a goal, but you have a stick and a thing you fling at the goal. You know, like there's cross-checking and shit.
Yep, Kirk is right when he describes it that it's like combining soccer and hockey. Like, yep, that's pretty fucking close.
Yeah. I know, like, I think it's bigger on the East Coast. I think, like, colleges have had lacrosse for, like, 150 years in the Northeast.
Yeah, because I think it's bigger with bougier schools.
Yeah,
which we don't have a ton of in North Dakota, so...
You familiar with Jim Brown, like the all-time great running back for like the Browns, like the 50s and 60s? He, on a lark, decided to play lacrosse because his college had it. And everyone was like, Jim Brown is the best lacrosse player. Like he was like hurting people. Because I can imagine. He was a freak of nature in the NFL. Imagine him running full speed in 140-pound Dartmouth undergrads. You know, like, being, you know, you should play lacrosse. It'd be good for your asthma.
You'll learn teamwork, so you can take over the family hedge fund someday.
Yeah. Jim Brown literally peeling people like that thing from fucking Silent Hill.
The fucking pyramid head.
Yeah. Dartmouth had to forfeit. Everyone had been peeled. The NCAA had to have an emergency meeting and update their peeling policy. Turns out we're against it.
Tragedy on the lacrosse field today is Colin Corglesworth III was hit so hard by Jim Brown that he stamped his sweater vest that he wears under his uniform into his body. Colin, of course, the heir to the Corglesworth fortune, is not expected to recover fully.
Despite his family's money, they were not able to reupholster the son.
Now he'll live his days out in secret shame under the stairs like the ugly Kennedy kids.
You work at a quiet upholstery shop and they bring in a quivering, skinless boy and a human suit. Won't quit screaming.
We're thinking like a suede or a microfiber, maybe something, something that's easy to clean.
I think you need a doctor. They turned us away too.
The idea of just a doctor seeing this fucking triaged sports injury and just being like, nope. You'd have to take him somewhere else, lady.
You take your fucking Hellraiser cosplay elsewhere.
Sorry, we don't deal with the flayed here.
Your HMO doesn't cover flaying.
What's this? Some kind of big fish? That's my son.
That's my boy. That's the heir to the fortune. Well, he ain't gonna be for long. I hope he had a kid at a young age.
Speaking of hair, he's never gonna grow any ever again.
Funny he can scream that much without lips.
Or bones.
So Homer does not know how lacrosse works, nor does he seem all that interested in learning, because I think the scene is he's in the living room not paying attention while Lisa's trying to learn about the sport, because Lisa and Bart are all jazzed up about lacrosse.
Yeah.
And they go to the game. Homer's job is cutting orange segments for the kids. And he's just happy to have that, like he don't care.
Yeah, and it means he doesn't have to care about lacrosse, so he's into it. Is this because Homer cutting orange slices comes up a lot in this episode. Is that a thing that parents do for their kids' team?
Little kid shit, I bet it is. Yeah, something. Okay. I could see that being a thing. Yeah,
I was like, this must be a thing. It's this parent's turn to bring the after game snack, and they bring orange slices, I guess.
Which is better than I remember a handful of times in youth baseball just being handed a room temp Mountain Dew out of the box of a pickup truck.
Here you go.
Good game, kids. Here you go.
He's been rolling around back there in a while, so hold him out away from you when you open him. Yeah. Oh, that's Bud Light. You got to give that one back.
Yeah. Can't let that happen again.
Not again.
And that would have been before can technology changed. So you looked at a can wrong, it exploded in your face.
Haven't had nowadays mishap in a while.
Yeah, they changed how cans are made, and that how carbonated beverages are canned. That's why it's hard to have a can blow up anymore.
Oh, really?
Think about when was the last time you opened a can and it just overflowed? That was 1 out of 3 cans in the 80s and 90s. Now we figured out a better way. Thanks, science.
Still happens with a plastic bottle. They don't got it figured out on a plastic bottle.
Yeah. That is just God telling you not to drink soda out of a plastic bottle.
Yeah. I mean, you probably shouldn't drink soda, period.
Yeah.
Turns out it's poison, but...
Yeah. So Homer is assuming they're going to lose. He's not even watching the game. He's like, hey, good try, kids. Good effort. We won. And it's during a post-win pizza dinner. Kirk tells Homer about how he was an elite college lacrosse player destined for pro lacrosse greatness. Then he has a freak high-fiving act where his wrist compound fractures.
Just shatters.
It's gross. And I do love what we see college-age Kirk still completely bald on top with a flowing blue mane of hair.
Yeah, he's got the skullet, bare on top, but then beautiful hair.
So the team's a success, and while they continue to coach, the team. Kirk is becoming good friends with Homer, much more than Homer's becoming friends with Kirk. It's a one-sided friendship.
Yep.
Fucking when they're driving, and it turns out that Kirk's mix CD is a CD of just that one big bad voodoo daddy. You and me and the devil make three tonight. Is that it?
Yep. It's just different live versions of that one song.
Oh my God. And he's ready for kind of a boys' weekend, you know. Sure, we got the kids during the day, but they'll be in their hotel rooms at night. You and I can go on the prowl. And
it's also perfect that this is what Kirk is listening to. Like, it's such a good joke that he is into, like, the late 90s, early aughts, briefly lived blink and you miss it swing revival.
Yeah, and like thinks it's cool, you know.
Yeah, because this is 15 years after the fact.
It's during their time together we find out Homer not a strip club guy.
Which I would believe. That makes sense to me. Right
away I was like, that can't be right. But then I thought about it. It is. He is incredibly like faithful to Marge, and even in a way that I wouldn't consider it even that wrong to go to a strip club, but like in his head it is, you know, because he knows Marge wouldn't like it. Yep. George Bush wanted this show off the air.
Yeah, we see him later in a strip club and he looks so uncomfortable.
Yeah. Homer wants to tell Kirk that he doesn't really want to be buds with him, but he knows that would jeopardize all the fun the kids are having winning at lacrosse. So he just kind of keeps it all in. Like, he doesn't like, I don't think he really lies to him, maybe a little, but like, he just doesn't tell him the truth. You know, like, it's not like he's acting like he's excited for all this shit, but you know that is how this is going to end, is eventually he's going to have to tell him.
It's kind of a lie by omission.
Yeah. And there's a musical number where Kirk is singing about how much he loves Homer, and Homer, meanwhile, is singing about how much he does not like spending time with Kirk. And in a weird, usually these music montages are just that. They have nothing to do with the plot, but this one totally does.
Yeah,
because he overhears. Thing. Yeah, he overhears Homer singing about in a fucking gondola about how he doesn't want to fucking be his friend. So Kirk is very upset about that, and he no-shows the kids' biggest game of the year.
Yep, the championship game against Capital City. Kirk's nowhere to be found.
Yeah, and I don't know how they figure it out, but somehow someone pieces it together and figures out that Kirk is at that strip club that they had discussed going to.
Yeah, because Luann is like, well, he's not here, and he cleaned out our bank account in singles. Like, and Homer's like, oh, there's only one place where he could be.
And Homer right away doesn't want to, but like Marge and the kids convince him that they got to go find him. So he goes to the titty bar to bring Kirk back. He gets there, and again, like you said, very nervous until he discovers the free strip club buffet.
Yep, free buffet.
He's just piling in free strip club chicken wings. Which I think he comments like, these are the worst chicken wings ever.
Yeah, he's like, the worst food I've ever had, as he's just hammering down fucking fried chicken legs. Yeah. Jesus. But it's free, so of course you're gonna eat it.
Yeah. While at the strip club, he overhears, I think, one of the strippers say to the other, there's a guy in the champagne room with a cooler of rice sandwiches.
Oh, my God.
Because that's something that happens early in this, is Kirk very animatedly explaining his love of rice sandwiches. So sick.
What is it about the idea and the animation of the rice sandwich, like, makes me sick? Like, the idea of it and seeing it earlier in the episode when the kids are eating it, like, and I'm somebody, I'll sit and eat just plain white rice until I feel awful. Like I love
Right out of the bag.
I love just dry rice. I love white rice and I love sandwiches, but the idea of making a white rice sandwich makes me physically ill.
Yeah, I'm with you. But for me, I'm acting like it's the grossest thing imaginable, which it seems so sick. But if you were to serve me a big hot plate of Spanish rice, you know how I'm going to eat it? Dolloping onto a piece of white bread, buttered white bread, and eat it like that. You know, that's a sandwich.
I have certainly eaten Spanish rice exactly like that. Yep.
But like
buttered toast and put a little, but even that is an outlier for me. Odds are I'm eating Spanish rice with a spoon like a normal person, but God damn it. Maybe it's just how it's drawn. Because that white rice that we see earlier is so sopping fucking wet.
Yeah, just boiled rice right out of the pot. Just, wet on white bread. Like, oh my God.
And and you don't need that step. You can just make rice balls. You can just put a little bit of fucking seaweed around it. And that's a real food that humans eat.
Yeah.
But God damn it, something about it being in between two slices of bread makes me physically ill.
So Homer goes into the champagne room and kind of reconciles with Kirk and convinces them that the kids need him. So they, okay, you're right, let's do it. But they're unable to find a way out of the strip club until the strippers overhear their tale of woe, and being parents themselves, they get him to the game in, I don't know what the name of it is. It's the strip club's helicopter.
Yeah.
It has some kind of fun name, but they're flown, and it's like there's a countdown to when the game has to be called, but they get there just in time. And Springfield wins. It's during another post-win pizza party. Homer and Kirk break their wrists high-fiving.
Yeah,
so,
and then they're laid up in the hospital together.
Yeah.
Listening to Big Bad Voodoo Daddy.
Yeah. And what, in a rarity, we get a final addendum that I loved. Yep. It was just Kirk's YouTube channel, which starts with a rice sandwich tutorial video, and it just devolves into his sad, pathetic, drunken ramblings. And God, there's some gold in there. But yeah, I like this. I thought this started off well.
Yep, I like this one too. It was a fun detail when they're trying to escape the strip club. The Hey Pally guy is the sleazy strip club manager, and he's got like his shirt unbuttoned halfway with all this chest hair and necklaces on. That's a fun look for Pally. I like that.
You're right. We get that's like the collector's edition. You don't see many of that one.
Yeah, that's a chase figure, is strip club manager Pally.
I wonder if that character has a name. In your reading of The Simpsons, has a name for that guy? Well, you know, how could there be? Because he's a different guy all the time. Same thing with Squeaky Voice Teen. I'm sure he doesn't have a name.
Right. I think Squeaky Voice Teen is called Squeaky Voice Teen.
Oh, no shit. Okay.
Same with Blue-Haired Lawyer. I think is named Blue-Haired Lawyer.
Yeah. But like,
comic
it's
book
funny.
Guy. His comic book guy.
Yeah, Lindsay Nagel has a name, though. It's interesting which people have names.
Yeah.
I bet what it is that sometime earlier in their creation, they have to introduce themselves. Like, hi, I'm Lindsay Nagel. I'm the whatever. So ever since then, that's Lindsay Nagel. Like Cookie Kwan. Cookie Kwan says her name early on.
That's a good example, yeah.
She's always going to be Cookie Kwan.
Yeah, and maybe Pally did at some point, but no, that's... In all of my notes, since he has shown up on this show, it is Pally.
Have we, in the last 10 seasons, had a new reoccurring character? If so, who? Because I would say both Gil and Hey Pally were like season 12, 13, 14, somewhere around there.
I bet Gil is before that, but yeah,
think so?
They're both from a while ago.
Yeah. It just feels like both of them were right after the golden age of like seasons 2 through 8 or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of any kid characters that are new. Yeah. Just seems like what they do is they just revisit old characters.
Right. Like we get someone later in this batch who we've only seen in one episode before, but I wouldn't call her a recurring character.
Yep. Yeah.
So.
Ooh, that's foreshadowing, kids.
Look at that. Storyteller, baby.
Yeah.
Let's try episode 7, Havana Wild Weekend. We open.
That's a fun wordplay.
Yeah, it is. It's a stretch. It took me a while of staring at it to be like, what the fuck is this? I
can't wait till that country eventually opens up and they're selling t-shirts that say that to fucking dipshits on cruises.
Hell yeah. Can you go to Cuba? If you or I wanted to go to Cuba for the weekend, you know, like bros, can you even do that?
Someone is listening to this and pulling their hair out. I think you can fly to Canada or fly outside of the U.S. and then catch a flight to Havana, no problem. That's how that works.
Huh, okay. Because I know, like, Conan O'Brien went to Cuba a few years ago for his show, but I was like, can a regular old person do that?
Yeah, probably had to fly to Toronto to Havana. I bet is how something like that would work.
Probably be a fun trip. Like, it's, you know, it's a fucking Caribbean island. I'm sure it's gorgeous. Good food.
Yeah. And the thing that comes up in this episode is the fact that they're still driving all those 1950s sedans.
Yeah, because they never got new cars.
Joy.
They couldn't get new cars after that.
Yeah, and they're still keeping them running after all this time. That's so cool. Like,
yeah, because what are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
Like, you can't throw it away because you can't replace it.
Yeah, I wonder. Funny that the Soviets didn't send them just a mountain of horseshit Soviet cars in the 70s and 80s. Like,
maybe they did. Maybe you just don't hear about those because they don't photograph as well.
Yeah, no, my God, yeah. There's fucking little dinner roll cars putzing around.
Yeah.
Fucking 30 horsepower.
Just a big lawnmower for all intents and purposes. We start off with the fantastic parody of Shark Tank, which is Vulture's Nest, where the sharks are replaced with Lindsay Naegle, Mr. Burns, H.K. Duff, and the Texas Oil Man.
Yeah. Because I think in the order it's something like Lindsay, Burns, Texas Oil guy. And then I was like, who's going to be the fourth? Because I couldn't think of a rich guy. But the Duff guy was a perfect choice. Yeah.
Yep. It ends up being the Duff owner. And I don't watch Shark Tank. I've never seen a second of Shark Tank, but I am aware of it and I understand the premise. This was fucking funny. I liked this a lot. Because Milhouse and Kirk Van Houten are the I don't know, contestants. What do you even call these people?
Yeah, I'm sure there's a name for it.
They're pitching their product.
The entrepreneurs.
Yeah, and their product is a retainer that looks like a grill. And when fucking Milhouse slides in that gold retainer and it says Kill House in jewels across the front of his teeth, holy shit. Dying. Absolutely fucking dying.
Yeah. Does anyone take them up on it? How does it end?
So Lindsay Naegle offers, I'll give you 3 hours of my precious time for 90% of your company. And Kirk just goes, and she goes, waited too long. Now it's 95%. And he's like begging Milhouse to take the deal. And Milhouse is like, but this was my idea. And then Burns drops him through a trapdoor at some point.
There you go. Yeah.
Before that, at the beginning of their pitch, Kirk starts off by going, and immediately the Duff guy goes, I'm out.
Yeah.
So good. That's all it took for him to not be on board with Kirk Van Houten.
Yeah, Kirk does not inspire confidence when he walks into a room.
No, he does not. We're in the Simpsons living room as they're watching this, and they're like, oh, damn it, the dog peed on the rug. But it turned out it was Abe. And that was, like, weirdly sad. I was not ready for how sad that was going to be. He's, like, Abe is on hard times. He's fucking falling apart. The old folks' home has thrown him out because they've, like, done all they can do for him. as the lady behind the desk puts it, like, well, we provide free transportation to the next stage, and they drop him out of a van onto Skid Row.
Yeah.
Insane.
Jesus. They really leaned into the old folks home being a death trap in the last several seasons. We've had a few of these.
Yeah,
the
and
pills one.
Yes, the pills one, and like the fact that the people running it and working there are awful. Like it's not a benign place. Like it's not just that it's shitty, it's that it's actively bad.
Like I've always thought that a retirement home sounds kind of dope.
Right?
You know, you ain't got to do shit anymore. You got to take care of a yard. You got people to hang out with. There's like a huge rec area, you know, you can go play cards or whatever. It's something to live in the fucking dream.
I bet it gets old pretty quick. Like,
or I think it's like what stares you in the eye is, oh, this is the end.
Right. Yeah. There's also that.
Yeah.
I bet that even if you're of the mind of like, you're not fighting being put into it, where, you know, you're of the mind of like, okay, yeah, sure. Like, I bet the first couple of months are all right. I bet the first couple of months are like, yeah, I don't have to fucking fix a water heater. I can go play cards and drink coffee with my boys. Like, this is nothing to it. Jello on Fridays, you know? But I bet after a couple months, you're like, fuck me. I want to leave.
Yeah. Or I think it maybe would be the opposite too. I bet right away you're so fucking salty about being forced to do something you don't want to do. Sure. And your pride, you don't want to admit that you're slipping. Like, you know, like I can still drive, I can still do this. And it's like your family vetoes it. And now you're living in the fucking elderly dorms or whatever. Because that's pretty much what it is, you know? Like, yeah. And then you put your guard down and start to have a little fun. But it would be weird to be a grown person, maybe more money than you could spend, and you have to wait for someone to cook you something because you don't have a grill, you know, you don't have a kitchen.
Yeah.
Indignity. Like, can I have another pork chop? No, you've had enough. I am worth $10 million.
I am an adult.
Yeah. No, you go back to bed. It's 4 p.m.
Yeah, that kind of shit, like the needing permission for things that you've just done your whole life, I bet is the toughest part to get past.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So they drop him off in Skid Row, and there's a great moment where fucking Chief Wiggum is there in his cop car, and he's just like, this is disgusting. This Skid Row isn't for old people, it's for the mentally ill. And he kicks Cat Lady out of his cop car and wishes her good luck and fucking drives away. Jesus. And they're like, well, you're a fucking veteran. We'll take you to the fucking VA. They'll help you out. And their wait list is 24 years.
Yeah. To like meet with your primary care doctor.
Before anyone's able to see you.
Yeah.
And that's when he runs into another veteran there who tells him, I was in the Bay of Pigs and those Cuban doctors fixed me up just right. And it costs, what does he say, $6?
Yeah. And then there's that note on the screen. Is that this point?
Yeah, where it flashes up, because he says what costs $2,000 here costs $6 there. And it flashes up like, this is true. You can look it up.
Yeah. It's Cuba too, because you know we have those embargoes and whatever, so we didn't share anything. They've come up with like I don't know if vaccine's the right word, but like they have a treatment for lung cancer that we don't, like our doctors couldn't even comprehend. Like if you read about it, it's fascinating. Like they have a totally different way of handling lung cancer with a way better success rate.
Really?
Because that was one of the things during the Obama administration they were really pushing. Like, hey, let's open some of these avenues to dealing with Cuba again because of shit like this. You know, like,
yeah.
So we can figure out how to fight lung cancer.
If a good alternative to dying from lung cancer is 90 miles away from Florida.
Yeah. You could take an
let's maybe think about reaching out, guys.
Yeah.
Well, they got to have an answer for lung cancer. They got all them cigars, you know?
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, good point.
So the Simpsons are going to Cuba, I have written here. They get there and they go to a Cuban doctor who can only give him a shirt, gives him just a colorful like Hawaiian shirt with parrots and toucans on it because he's like, there's nothing I can do for him, and then whispers to Marge, bring back the shirt after he's,
Yeah.
Jesus. I already missed the first one, but we get so many I Love Lucy references in this episode, and I've never seen a second of I Love Lucy, so I don't fucking get any of them. Like, I barely recognize that they're I Love Lucy references. You think you can go back to that? Do you think if you're someone who's never seen it, can you see it for the first time and have it be good? Or is it of its time?
I mean, I think a lot of comedy ages poorly, but I've seen enough of. I didn't grow up with it, or maybe if I did, it was in the background as a rerun. But like, I've seen it as a past college age, and it's better than a lot of sitcoms today are because she is such an incredibly talented fucking physical comic. I think I put it the same way at the Honeymooners. The Honeymooners, I think you know what it was. You know those free over-the-air channels like Me TV and shit like that?
Yeah.
They used to air the Honeymooners, and I'd watch that. It's like, I mean, a lot of it doesn't land, but what's his name? Jackie Gleason is so talented. It's like, okay, that's funny. It
like, just transcends the time and the writing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like I'm falling out of my chair, can't catch my breath laughing, but it's like, oh, this is, especially, I bet I can see why at the time people were creaming their fucking pleated pants over it, like just because it's like,
a good pleat creaming. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm sure it was light years better than most everything else, like My Three Sons and shit like that, like.
It's kind of a different thing, but it's the same way you can watch Buster Keaton shit and still be like super impressed as far as stunt work goes. Like, holy shit.
The stunt work I find funny, but like I find fun, but I don't find any of it very funny. For me, it's like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah,
I'm with you there too. Yeah, like I don't fucking split my sides laughing at Buster Keaton.
Yeah,
but like all of the stunts are like, holy fucking shit! How did you? Like, that's a real train, bro. What are you doing?
Yeah. Watching him fucking slip on a banana peel fucking for 90 minutes isn't my idea of a good time, but like the stunts are berserk.
Like the house falling over and him standing where the window's going to be. Like, you're killing a man if you miss that.
I bet 5 to 20 people died on every movie set back then.
Oh, probably. And they were
life was cheap.
Yep. No one batted an eye. Just like, cost of doing business. That's a write-off. I remember when Jackass 3 was coming out, Johnny Knoxville does the stand and the wall falls, but you're in the window thing. And I remember him talking about how, like, that was hands down one of the most dangerous stunts they did.
Oh, I bet.
In that movie. And even then, it's in the outtakes. They miss it a couple of times and drop that wall on Johnny Knoxville, and it looks like it sucks.
Like, if that fulcrum point of the house tip is off by an inch, you're killing somebody. Like,
there is so much math that has to be done.
And they don't seem like math people.
The Jackass guys? No, I don't think so. I don't know that Ryan Dunn had a bunch of equations in front of him figuring out the best way to put a toy car up his ass. So Abe, all dejected because he just got turned away by this Cuban doctor, stumbles across a car that he loves. And I am on board with Abe here. Yeah. 50s cars with their fucking pointed rocket fucking taillights and shark fins. Bring back shark fins, goddammit. Yeah. I was just car shopping. You know how much more fun it would be to buy a car? Like, the new 2023 fucking Sonata has shark fins on it. I'd have bought a Sonata.
And the funny thing is that was a small window in time. There's like a 3-year window where big like audacious fins and shit like that was cool. 'Cause you look at a car from 1955, it looks like a loaf of bread. It's just a fucking oval, you know, like probably a lot of chrome, but still no outrageous fucking shit. It doesn't look like a Mad Max fucking thing, you know. Like.
Yeah, and I love the look of a like a 56 Bel Air, or like those kind of like giant fucking, they're probably 8,000 pounds.
Yeah, it's like a 1959 Cadillac looks more like the Batmobile than the Batmobile. Like,
yeah,
it's like,
yes.
It's like, this is too ostentatious. We have to tone it down. No one would believe this is a real car.
We got to scale this back a little bit.
Yeah.
I was watching, I'm watching horror movies. I watched Silent Scream from 1979. And in it, the main character, I had to do a bunch of Googling to find out, what the fuck is this car? The main character drives a 1967 Datsun Sports 2000 Roadster. And it is like, if you blocked out the badging to where you couldn't tell who made that car, you might think it's an Aston Martin. Datsun was apparently making bitchin' cars back in the 60s.
Yeah, some people, they have a huge aftermarket of like people that collect Datsuns.
I found, I immediately took to the internet and found like one for sale for like $4,000, and it's sitting in somebody's tree rows somewhere.
Yeah. When I was a kid, Datsuns were throwaway cars. Yeah.
Yeah. I know Datsuns mostly from pickups, you know, the tiny little fucking throw a machine gun in the back style of tiny pickup.
And Datsun became or was part of Nissan. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I think Nissan and Datsun are the same thing.
The same company. Yep, I think so.
That's car talk.
That's Datsun talk.
Elementary, My Dear Datsun. Is that the name of the podcast? I was struggling. I was like, okay, come on, you can put it together.
House of the Rising Datsun.
That's a stretch. That's a fucking real stretch.
Us dressed up like turn of the century detectives talking about Datsuns, trying to smoke a pipe and getting sick from it.
Oh, yes, you see it.
Oh. Me going out of character and you screaming at me about it. I don't want to do this anymore, Marlon. It's Mr. Holmes.
God damn it. Listen here, Dr. Watson. Sweating my dick off in this deerstalker cap.
Everything is wool. I'm crying, you're screaming. There's like Datsuns dancing around our head in a graphic image.
Oh shit.
I don't like this. I don't like you.
I would commit to half a dozen episodes right now.
Oh, I'd be so sick if I tried to smoke a pipe. And make for we'd have to have a visual with it.
Oh, for sure. That's a video podcast, 100%. Yeah. Oh, man. Fucking pipe smoke smells so good, though. Like pipe tobacco. Yeah. Oh, man. Oh, that's good shit. Marlon, I think you got to stop what you're doing over there. Holmes did amphetamines. I got to be in character. Just
removing your teeth.
Bug-eyed.
Going into a veterinarian's office in rural North Dakota in a wool suit, no teeth, clearly on drugs, and explaining that it's for a podcast and you need horse teeth. Well, they're not going to fit. How about you let me worry? I'm on meth. I'll make it work.
We got to record all these episodes today because that lady's going to notice that her basset hound went missing.
You're in the parking lot of a veterinarian's office punching horse teeth into your gums.
Oh, God.
It's cool. I'm an entertainer.
The show must go on. My mouth is all fucked up. Can't hardly talk.
Yeah. A woman and her 8-year-old son holding a fucking hamster. I think we're going to take biscuits somewhere else.
Do you even have the tools for this? I got an eyeglass repair kit and some can-do attitude. That's all I need. A pocket full of horse teeth. That's my favorite Alanis Morissette song. Look for that Datsun podcast. It's going to be good.
Probably our last one, so enjoy it. We're not going to live through that one.
Why'd they wear so many layers? Dying. So Abe loves this car. The guy who owns it lets him get in and take a ride in it. And now Abe is fully rejuvenated. And the guy explains that, like, you expose old folks to stuff from their youth and they're fucking way better. They're happier and they're spry. They're fucking wheeling and dealing now. And Abe's fucking dancing and shit. Yeah. He's playing the Simpsons theme song on a Spanish guitar. That was a fun bit. Back at the hotel, he's down in the hotel bar flirting up the bartender, and he meets Wheels McGrath, who's an old military buddy of his. And they get to catching up. Turns out Wheels is here because he hijacked a plane in the fucking 70s and flew it to Cuba. I looked up, was a thing. A huge rash of hijackings of American airplanes, and they would point him to Cuba, to the point where, like, flight attendants would have been stewardesses at the time, but stewardesses and pilots were, like, coached through, here's what to do, because you for sure inevitably are going to get hijacked and taken to Cuba. So
no shit.
Yep, that was apparently a huge thing in the 70s. Just like political revolutionaries and fucking radical, fucking, especially, like leftists, like the extreme leftists who are super into the communism, fucking hijack a plane because, like, he even says, that was easy. You just tell him your kid wants a pair of fucking wings and now you got a plane.
Yeah. I bet a big thing was it wasn't even necessarily that getting to Cuba was the goal, but you hijack a plane, you land it in Cuba because they're sympathetic to your cause. And from there, you can, like, you bargain with whoever that plane belongs to. Like,
sure, yeah, because they're going to want their plane back. People,
yeah, because you got to land that plane because you only got a few hours to, negotiate then. You get it on ground in a communist country, you're home free.
Yeah. Also, like, outside of Canada or Mexico, which are not communist countries, obviously, like, it's the only communist country you can get to with a domestic flight as far as fuel goes. So, yeah, turns out that was a real thing. Wheels still has the plane and wants to turn it into a nightclub, which to me was just like, oh, planes must have been way different in the 70s, because if you took a modern plane and turned it into a nightclub, no one would fucking go there, because that sounds like a nightmare.
It'd be very narrow.
Yep, narrow and short, these little fucking fart tubes. I hate airplanes so goddamn much. And he wants Abe to invest, and Abe says absolutely. So Abe's going to invest in this airplane nightclub and stay behind in Cuba with the along with the saucy bartender that he's been making eyes with. Homer, not into this because he wants Abe to come back with them, goes to the American embassy to have them find Abe, and they're like, oh yeah, every AARP card has a chip in it. We'll find him. Find him immediately. Yeah. And then it's like, now for your part of the deal, how many baseball players can you smuggle back into America? And Homer almost immediately right out of the holster is just like, well, I'm going to have to check with my family, but I'm going to say 12. Like, he's got a number right away. I thought that was fun.
I love how that's still a thing. Like, every 3 years or so, there's a high-profile Cuban that escapes to somewhere in the Caribbean, then gets to Mexico, then makes their way to the States.
"Quote unquote" escapes, with no help. Yep.
Yeah.
So now we've turned the plane into a nightclub, a happening nightclub, and Abe's lady kind of lures him up to the cockpit and and she's an American. She's a CIA agent undercover and is stealing this plane because it's full of criminals from the U.S., including the man who invented Ticketmaster. And I love that they just shit on that dude.
Yeah.
And Homer and the family also came to get Abe, so they are also on this plane. And she knockout gases the whole plane except for the cockpit. So it's her and Abe just flying back to America. And then once we get back, Abe and Homer make up, and they're like, oh, let's go hit the links. And it's this nice, wholesome moment. But hit the links means Bart, Abe, and Homer take an air horn out and fuck with golfers by honking it during their backswings.
Yeah.
Another great Jackass bit is air horn on a golf course.
So simple, but yet so effective.
Yeah. That one was fine. You know, it was perfectly acceptable. You know, I like the travel ones more than you do. I figure I think you turn your nose up at a lot of the travel ones. But also this is, we're 7 episodes into the season. We've gotten 2 The Simpsons Are Going To travel episodes, you know, Boston last week and Cuba this week.
And we'd had a time where we weren't seeing them quite as often too.
Yeah, pretty seldom there, like once every 2 or 3 seasons there for a while.
There was a pretty decent sight gag. I think it's when they're going to the American doctor. By the entryway, there's a barrel of needles that say partially used flu shots, help yourself.
Yep, that's fun.
Yeah, that was a good gag.
There was a joke in the hotel bar when Abe's flirting with that bartender, and she's like, yeah, I'm looking to hook up later. And Abe goes, hey, Macarena. And then he pauses for a moment and goes, for me, that's topical. That's a good joke.
Yeah, good point. I forgot about that. It's good.
Yeah. Yeah, perfectly fine. Not knocking my socks off, but that was all right.
Let's see how episode number 8 treats us. It's titled Dad Behavior. And we get a wild intro. Kind of the intro blends into the couch gag where everyone except Bart dies. Like Lisa gets hit in the head with her own sax.
Yep.
Does Homer accidentally swallow like the plutonium rod at the beginning?
Yep, and chokes on it.
And then Marge and Maggie drown. They drive the car off a curve and they fucking drown. So it's just Bart on the couch.
Because it's like, it's all of the stuff that happens in the intro, but it all goes wrong. So, like when Bart comes skateboarding out of the school and lands on Barney, Barney catches him and breaks his skateboard.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah,
you know, and God damn it, when they flash to, okay, it's the Marge and Maggie part, and Maggie is actually driving and crashes through all that shit into the lake, and it waits just long enough for Marge's face down body to come floating up, and they never do show Maggie. Maggie didn't
that might
get
be
out of the
a
car.
bridge too far. Yeah.
I like that intro a lot.
I'm surprised they didn't save something like that for a Treehouse episode.
It was a little treehousey, for sure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So the episode starts. Marge tasks Homer with putting together a TV stand. I think it's supposed to be some kind of IKEA type thing.
Yeah, furniture in a box. Yep.
Yep. Yeah. Because we look around the house, everything is unput together for like boxes of unassembled furniture litter their living room.
He has the television on top of the box that contains the entertainment center. It's so good.
And he says he will. He manages to do it, but he also manages to trap himself in. It makes no sense. Like, why would there be all these limb-sized holes in a TV stand?
Yeah, he's like got a leg through it. He's got a leg through the back of the entertainment center.
While he struggles to get himself unstuck, Barney, who has appeared, clues him in on Chore Monkey, an app that finds people to do the things you don't want to do. This starts as like the chore monkeys are doing chores around the house, and really they go from explaining it to doing it like that, one scene into the next. Yeah.
Oh, it's this app that you hire someone to do chores, and immediately we're off and running.
What would be the closest thing to this? There is an app kind of like this.
This is Taskrabbit.
That's okay. That's what it is. I knew it was a play on the name of the real one,
which is essentially this. Like it's like a I need a handyman app. Like, I need someone to hang this television, so I'm gonna go on Taskrabbit and fucking post it.
And that's kind of what the gag is too. It starts with normal things like household chores, but then it ends with I think Homer hires a chore monkey guy to argue with Marge.
Yep. Or
and then,
not even argue, just talk. Like he's
you're right.
Hostage negotiator.
Yeah. Yeah. She starts arguing because she's very angry that Homer's too lazy to talk to her. And then they eventually hire. Oh, go ahead, sorry.
Well, because Homer immediately is abusing this. He's like, chore monkeys are bringing him beer and changing the channel for him. Yeah. Immediately goes too hard into this.
Yeah. And he hires Chore Monkey to be a husband. He also hires a Chore Monkey to be a father for him because they hire Matt Leinart to hang out with Bart.
That's fun.
Such an interesting choice, Matt Leinart, because I think he might have even been out of the league by this time or on his way out.
Was he drafted by Arizona, or do I know him as a Cardinal? Yep,
he drafted by the Cardinals. I am not a great college football mind, and this will prove it. When he was in college, I thought he was the second coming of Peyton Manning.
Okay.
I thought he'd still be in the league right now and be one of the best quarterbacks of our lifetime, but.
And he ended up being fine, but not what he should have been. Is that it?
He probably was only a starter in the league for 2 years.
Oh wow!
And then he was just relegated to backup. Yeah,
I think almost a Ryan Leaf level bust.
Yep. If he would have been a top 5 pick, he would have been. But he ended up dropping in. I remember as a Vikings fan, trade up and get him, you lunatics. That's again why no one has hired me to run an NFL franchise
yet.
Yeah, thank you. Leinart, though, always good on the stick. So I think he is kind of segued into doing college football talking head shit because he was always a fun interview and stuff.
He's great in this episode.
Yeah, very good, yeah. So meanwhile, Homer in the B story, this is very much the B story. Homer is kind of he realizes the folly of his ways because Bart's having so much fun with Matt Leinart, and he's kind of dejected, so he decides to go visit his old man at the old folks' home. Turns out Abe has gotten his girlfriend pregnant, and we see her. She's an older woman, not as old as Abe, but she's a very older woman. And so it's okay, what's this going to be? I kind of had this felt immediately okay, this is going to be a very irrelevant B. Because it's where can they go with this,
I like that everybody at the old folks' home is banging because they all are on the senior dating apps.
Yeah. Cut back to the Simpson house. Bart is starting to realize that, he can just, the seams are starting to show. It's this guy's getting paid to be my friend. Because he realizes, he's always letting me win. And then he looks and he finds the sheet, his employment sheet. It's do this, always let him win, never let him see the sheet was the next number on it, which was good. So he goes outside. Meanwhile, a depressed Homer is working on his car, and Milhouse comes. And Milhouse is Bart here? He's no, he's playing with Matt Leinart. Just a good line.
Good sentence, yeah.
And Milhouse starts working on the car with Homer. They're kind of having fun. It's kind of nice to see. Because Homer's very rarely extends any kindness Milhouse's way, but he's just happy to have a kid interested in shit,
This was weird for me to see, like Homer and Milhouse having extremely wholesome TV dad and son moments is what the fuck? This looks weird.
One of them puts grease on the other's nose, and they're horsing around, having a good time.
Also, this is not the experience of helping your dad work on a car that I know.
you getting screamed at for not being psychic.
Yeah, like I thought the way you help your dad work on the car is you try to hold a flashlight and cry. I thought that's what you did.
That's not the right socket. It's the one you told me to grab. I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
I need the flashlight over here. Well, I don't know that, do I?
Yeah.
Oh boy.
So Bart goes outside and he's jealous because he sees the two of them having fun. And Milhouse and Homer go fishing without Bart. So it's getting serious. It's like he's like cheating on Bart with Milhouse. So Bart goes over to the Van Houtens and hangs with Kirk. And for Christ's sake, when Bart comes in, Kirk is boiling old letters to get the stamps off so he can reuse them.
Oh my God.
That is so depressing for a grown man. He's so proud, like, ooh, that's a forever stamp. You better save that one.
What's even more depressing is how excited he is that he gets to hang out with Bart. Like, oh my gosh, I'm so cool. I get to hang out with Bart Simpson. Oh my God.
The exact line I have written down, look at me hanging out with Bart Simpson. I can't wait till Wendell sees this. And Wendell walks by and just like gives a shrug of his shoulders and keeps walking. He's not impressed.
And Kirk immediately is like, oh, I built it up too much.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Meanwhile, the B story ties itself up pretty quickly because Abe goes over to visit his soon-to-be baby mama and finds out that the kid is actually the old bearded man, what's his name? Jasper's kid, which Abe is thrilled to hear. He did not want to be a dad. He's very excited. Abe cannot be tied down with the responsibilities of parenthood. That bird's got to fly. We can't tie Abe down.
Yeah, you can't pen that stallion.
Milhouse and Homer run into Bart and Kirk at Itchy and Scratchy Land, and tensions are rising. They enter, it's something 500. It's like a giant go-kart race.
Yeah.
And like every cart, one has like a big itchy head, one will have a big scratchy head. So it's Kirk and Bart going up against Homer and Milhouse. They're very competitive because they're all mad at each other. And each of them wants to win. They're doing their best. Really, a lot of rubbin's racing going on here.
Damn right, rubbin's racing.
Yeah. But at one point, I don't know if Kirk hits the brakes or if he guns it, but Bart gets flung from the car. So Homer becomes a dad again. He stops their go-kart and goes and checks on Bart. Bart and Homer make up, as do Milhouse and Kirk. Fucking Milhouse's line, "You're my favorite guy that mom's brought home." I like that. In his head, he's no different than his mom's fucking side pieces.
Right. Like when she was dating American Gladiators 20 seasons ago. Like, he's just another one of them.
Yeah. There's also kind of a C story where Marge has hired a chore monkey to take care or try to wean Maggie off of her pacifier. And Maggie is so iron-willed that it ends with that guy breaking down mentally and sucking on a pacifier.
Yeah, that was fun. Just that quick little end bit of him like trying to negotiate with Maggie and getting nowhere. And it getting worse and worse, and he keeps looking more and more disheveled. And then way at the end, he's just frantically sucking on a pacifier.
We also in the credits get like a nice, I think it's Abe, Bart, and Homer in the stands of a baseball game. And there's a "We'll miss you, Vin Scully" message. Yeah. Because this is right around the time he retired. I looked it up, but yeah. That year, that fall was his last baseball game. The B story of Grandpa, completely
who cares?
Fine, but who cares? Yeah. I enjoyed the main story because it's got Kirk and Milhouse.
Yep.
Jesus,
Kirk and
more
Milhouse.
of them too.
Yep. You can't get enough of Kirk and Milhouse.
Yeah.
I like that that B story was kind of whatever, but I like that it draws attention to and this is a real thing that like the rates of venereal diseases in senior citizens' homes are pretty fucking high.
Yeah.
Like
I've had
Seniors are getting in it. They're out there getting in it. So I like that we get one where we acknowledge that the seniors are getting in it.
One of my first comedy bits I ever wrote was about that.
Oh, that's right. Holy shit.
I'll march it out every once in a while. And
I haven't
always
seen
think,
you do
I gotta
that.
try that again, but it's very spicy. It's very spicy.
And makes some people sad.
Lots of descriptors of old people genitals. Which I think that's ageism if you're repelled at that.
Yeah. Oh, look at him trying to cancel Nathan over his over his old people banging bit. There's a great joke earlier when Matt Leinart is playing Monopoly with Bart and Milhouse comes in. He's like, "Can I play next? I always carry a top hat on me." And fucking Milhouse is carrying around like a ring box with the little pewter top hat in it, just in case a Monopoly game breaks out.
That's so on point for him.
It's good. I thought that was a great little joke. Do you got a preferred Monopoly piece if somebody breaks out the box, or do you not give a fuck?
I feel like when I was a little kid, I liked the little dog.
Oh, okay.
But older I've gotten, I haven't played Monopoly. It'd been a minute. And I like Monopoly.
I love Monopoly. Monopoly is great. I got deep into, this has been like 3 or 4 years ago now, but me and my roommate at the time would play fucking Monopoly on the PlayStation all the time. There's a pretty good Monopoly on PS4, and man, it's fun to play Monopoly without having to set up a board and count money and shit.
Last time I would have played Monopoly, I had a roommate that had it on the Super Nintendo. Or maybe the 64.
Okay.
Actually, the 64 now I think about it. And that was a blast. We played this again, don't got to set shit up. You ain't got to do math.
Yep. Just sit back and play fucking Monopoly.
Yeah.
I usually reach for the race car if nobody else has. But
interesting.
I'll take a top hat. I don't like that little dog.
Right,
I don't like those kind of dogs. Like those little terriers.
Little Scotty or whatever they call them things. Yeah.
Yip assholes. I don't fucking coyote bait.
Little fuzzball.
Yeah, not a fan. A dog ought to be like at least knee high.
Yeah. Those are shin high dogs.
Ankle biter dogs. Not a fan of a little tiny yip dog. Episode 9 is Last Traction Hero.
It's a deep cut at this point in history. That movie's 22 years old.
Yeah. That movie fucking rules.
Never seen it.
Man, you're fucking up. Last Action
It's kind of like high concept, right? Like,
yeah, hell yeah. Like Arnold is playing a fake character. Like, it's outstanding. You should watch Last Action Hero.
One of the best Alice in Chains songs is on that soundtrack. It's on no studio albums.
One of the better AC/DC songs also on that soundtrack. There's a good Megadeth song on that soundtrack. That's a good soundtrack.
I think Def Leppard has a weird mix of like modern rock and like more 80s classic rock in it.
Yep. Ian McKellen is in that movie real briefly. Fucking Charles Dance is a great villain. Yeah, that movie's great. I'll stand by Last Action Hero all day.
That's a hot take in 2022.
It shouldn't be.
As if anyone was besmirching it.
Yeah, someone out there. No, it's not.
All the haters.
Yeah. Homer, looking for a parking spot, can't find one, finally does, but that's Mr. Burns' spot. And Homer gonna park there anyway, because Homer's a fucking rebel. It also helps that he knows that Burns is out of town on he's out hunting with his hunting group, and which we cut to them, and they are the Knights of Saint Caucasian. They got like robes, and they release a cage full of sedated quail.
like tipping over.
Just the most insane rich person shit. And holy shit, Burns pulls up that shotgun and shoots at that sleeping quail, and the recoil sends him flying off screen, and we cut to him skipping like a stone across a lake.
Yeah, that was good.
As he shouts, "Damn you, surface tension."
Is that what he says? That's good.
Yeah, and he gets like 4 or 5 skips before kaplunk, dropping in the lake. He goes flying off the screen from that shotgun blast so violently. Oh, love it. Love it. Homer is like, well, if I can take his parking spot, I can take his whole life. And Homer just replaces Mr. Burns.
Such an insane move to make to a man you know is capable of so much evil.
Yeah, and like we see him like dressing in Burns's clothes, which don't fit at all. And all the while, Mr. Big Stuff is playing. And he's like, he's putting in Mr. Burns's office, and that's when Burns comes in and hits that fucking trapdoor, and down goes Homer. But Smithers right away is like, oh no, that trapdoor is still under construction, and we get a real long sequence of Homer falling. And he's falling past construction workers and all this other messed up shit. He's bouncing off of stuff like it is like a fucking Springfield Gorge level crash that he goes through.
This harkens back to the violence Homer took in early seasons.
Yeah. And eventually lands head down, face first into a fucking concrete mixer.
Yeah. Not good. Like, shitty way to die. But yeah, since it's Homer, survives.
Yeah, it's a cartoon, so Homer's not dead.
Yeah.
On the B story side, Lisa films a fight that happens on the bus when Dolph tries to kick Milhouse out of the seat that he's in, and a fight breaks out, and we get back to that a little later. Homer all fucking laid up at home. He's got that like full torso cast with both arms kind of outright like a cartoon Frankenstein, and then and the arms held up by those little kickstands that connect to the cast on his gut.
That would suck. My God.
Super fucked up.
Yeah.
I had a buddy in high school who wrecked his pickup and broke his back, but he just had like a turtle shell front and back kind of cast and brace on. And even that looked like a fucking nightmare to deal with.
Was he like bedridden during it? Or could he go do shit? I mean, as much as you can do wearing a plaster turtle shell.
Yeah, I feel like he was pretty fucking laid up for several weeks, but eventually was up and around, could go to school and shit with his turtle shell on. But like, I bet it was over a year before he was 100% again.
Yeah, I can imagine.
He was all, rolled his pickup, and in the process, reached up and pressed both palms against the ceiling to brace himself. And had he not done that and just been limp, he'd probably been fine. But since he braced himself, it compacted his fucking back and broke it all to shit.
Ugh, yeah. Don't roll your pickup, kids.
Yeah, don't roll your pickup. That's the moral of the story. So Homer's all fucked up. Back over in Lisa's side, she's going to be in charge of the bus because she shows Skinner the video of the bus fight, and she's like, I can be in charge of the bus and make sure this kind of thing doesn't happen anymore. And Skinner more than happy to let Lisa do the work that he should probably be doing. So
yeah.
He gives her a sash that says bus monitor, which he just had in his desk.
Top drawer waiting.
Yeah. Okay. We find out from the blue-haired lawyer that Burns is liable for Homer's injuries because, the old trapdoor was grandfathered in during the Reagan administration, but this new one, since he's renovating it, now it's not up to code. It has as Smithers even says, like, it's got to be handicap accessible. A wheelchair, it's not wide enough for a wheelchair to fall down. And Burns is just like, oh, we don't need to. I don't even hire the handicapped anyway. And blue-haired lawyer is like, that also is a problem. It's very funny. So we send Smithers out. He's got to get Homer to sign this waiver of liability. And so it's Smithers' job to get him to sign this. He goes over to the Simpsons, and Homer's been going stir crazy this whole time because Homer like wants to do stuff and like watch TV and shit. Marge, being a fucking angel woman, like waiting on him hand and foot, taking good care of him, and then also just so excited to be spending time with him.
Yeah.
Also,
that puzzle that she wants to play.
Fog in Berlin.
The foggy day in Berlin. 5,000 pieces. That got you so excited.
Yeah. Imagine how hard a 5,000 piece puzzle that is black and white and at least half fog is.
My God. And she has that chart. You just tell me the coordinate and I'll see if the piece fits.
Yeah. She's going to such insane lengths. She repurposed a baby's mobile with like the TV remote and pizza and beer, everything he could want. And it just spins around his head. But Homer, like, not into this at all. Like, Marge is like, oh, I've thought the one upside of this would be we'd get to spend more time together. Marge is like bummed out. Yeah. Homer says, your idea of fun makes me want to blow my brains out. Jesus. Homer. So Smithers is over to get that liability waiver signed, but then he sees what's going on here, and he and Marge start hanging out because Marge not having emotional needs fulfilled by Homer at all, and Smithers not getting his met by Mr. Burns at all. So these two kind of find each other and end up being pals. Smithers pours her a cup of tea and says, it's nice to pour tea for someone and not have to help him chew it. Feeble Burns, so feeble that he needs someone else to chew brewed hot tea for him.
And what is he saying that he does there? Does he say that I have to manually push Burns's jaw up and down? Or does he pre-chew his tea for him like a mama bird?
In my head, we're baby birding it. That's the way my brain went. Yep.
Yeah. I went physically holding his jaw and helping him have the strength.
Just the idea of Burns is so weak that he needs this liquid chewed for him. Oh,
so good.
God damn it. I love it so much.
Yeah.
Lisa's seating arrangement on the bus is working out extremely well. No one is fighting at all, and Lisa immediately envisions herself as Big Brother, and everything is just order, order above all. And
at one point, does she use the phrase, ooh, my first PG-13 daydream?
Yeah, because that's during this when it's like she's Big Brother up on the screen and Bart is coming up the aisle, slow-mo and hucks the fucking sledgehammer. But in this one, it bounces off and takes him out, and
beheads him.
Yep. Yeah. And she's all excited. Ooh, my first PG-13 sequence.
Yeah.
Marge and Waylon, again, both getting something out of this friendship that they don't get from what I'm going to call their significant others, although that's not what Burns is, Smithers, but okay. To the point where Marge finds her, catches herself in her mind being like, oh, Jesus, I kind of want to kiss Waylon Smithers. What, But then...
holds his hand, doesn't even realize it.
Yeah. And then you cut over to Smithers, who's going, "Oh God, I think she wants to kiss." You know what? She'd look okay with a mustache. Like Waylon is like trying to get there. That's funny.
Yeah.
But then Smithers takes off, and Marge turns all of that on Homer.
Yeah.
Gets the cast off when they're banging
That's
on
not
the couch.
good.
Shouldn't be taking that cast off.
So Homer's living the dream now.
Yeah, Homer, we get his inner monologue. He knows what's happening here and is 100% fine with it because of course he is.
Yeah.
Back on the bus, tempers are flaring. Lisa is a fucking tyrant. She's even got the fucking, what is that hair? Is that from Big Brother?
Must be, or from 1984. Has
84,
to be,
yeah. I've never seen the movie. I've only read the book, so I didn't immediately place it. But yeah, I think you're right. I think that's from that movie. And it finally boils over. They go through a tunnel and everything is fine. And then when they come out the other side of the tunnel, the bus is like covered in graffiti and on fire.
Yeah.
And Dolph is like sketch surfing out the back using books as skis.
Ralphie is hanging to the undercarriage of the bus. There's a hole in the floor of the bus too. And he just happily drops onto the street below.
Out of sight, yeah. And Lisa is like, what I had, everything was so nice. Like, we did it, and why did everyone ruin it? And Milhouse explains to her, like, it's the bus. The bus is supposed to be fucking chaos, you know?
Yeah.
That's just the way school buses are supposed to be.
He says it's like our moment of respite between the twin horrors of school and home.
Which is a real good look into Milhouse's life.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that was good. Lisa was dashed pretty quick.
And then Otto is telling Skinner, like, it's okay, we only lost one kid, the Wiggum boy. And just then, a trash truck pulls in, and the little robot grabber that is meant to grab cans and dump into the truck, like, grabs Ralphie and pulls him out of the truck and gives him back.
Yeah. He's just smiling, happy as a pig and shit.
Fucking Ralphie. Smithers has a meeting with Burns where Burns is like, you got to get that waiver signed or else I'm going to send you away so that you can be in charge of our new Chernobyl. And Smithers is like, oh God, was that us? And Burns is like, that doesn't leave this room, you know?
Yeah.
So get it signed or I'm sending you away. So
there's a good Burns. Oh, sorry. There's a good Burns line earlier where I think maybe it's early enough. It's when he's getting told he can't use the trapdoor anymore. When he's all just flabbergasted, he goes, "That's like telling Three Finger Brown he can't pitch for the Brooklyn Tip Tops." Mordecai Brown retired like 1911. He's a real guy.
It didn't even occur to me to look it up, but of course it's a real guy.
I didn't look if the Brooklyn Tip Tops were real, but they probably were.
I hope they were. Baseball team names during that time were fucking bananas.
Yep.
Like Rube Waddell, I forget which city, but Rube Waddell played for a team whose name was the Orphans.
Yep, I can't think of who the Orphans were, but they were a thing.
Team names were fucking Looney Tunes back then. The Minneapolis Millers, that wouldn't be a real fucking team today.
Like White Sox. Like
Red Sox, yeah.
Red Sox, like what a thing.
Names.
Yeah. I bet like socks were a saucy thing you could wear with your outfit to show off a little bit. Like, ooh, look at that dashing young man wearing red socks with his gray slacks. You know.
Well, also back then, at least for baseball uniforms, you were tucking the pants into the socks. So you saw the sock, or not even tucking in that far because the knickerbockers barely went past your knees.
Yep. Yeah, garters. Yeah. Like,
we should bring back knickerbockers.
There are still jerseys can still be made where you have short pants with sock garters. There's a couple guys that do it because it looks ridiculous and it's always good. I think they're both relief pitchers. They come in, they look like they're fucking cosplaying. This is great.
I'm into it.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what we all should be doing, not just in sports.
God. just sitting in the edge of your bed, dress shirt, tighty whities, socks and garters, smoking a Camel no filter before you go to bed, just ruminating about the nightmare of your life like fucking Larry King, just putting that cigarette out on a hotel end table and going to bed.
I also envision this man wearing a shoulder holster. It might not even have a gun in it.
Yeah. What a day.
So Smithers breaks it off with Marge. Like, we can't be friends because, you know, I got to fucking do this thing for Mr. Burns or get sent away, one or the other. And now Marge has no sauce left over for Homer. No steam left. And
she's sad.
Yep, she's bummed out. She lost her friend. So Homer calls off the lawsuit so she and Homer can still be friends. So she and Smithers can still be friends. And then, in order to satisfy his fucking ambulance chaser lawyer, Homer's like, well, what if I do a slip and fall down the courtroom steps? Will that help? And the lawyer, who's like mid-cry, is like, it might. Like, it's like a child.
Yeah, a little.
So Homer goes tumbling down the steps, but Marge tries to save him, and they both go rolling down the steps of the courthouse, and then they're both laid up in fucking chest casts with their arms out in bed, getting time together. Because now they're both all laid up.
And who's taking care of them? Who can say?
Abe, because he comes in.
Oh!
He comes in, he's like... He's got a fucking a tray, and he's like, okay, I made you soup. It's piping hot. And he's shaking so bad that the bowls are dancing all over the tray. And then he trips and flings the fucking flaming hot soup at him, and it freeze frames and says, this happened 3 times a day for the next 6 months.
He says, that should be good and hot. I microwaved them for 2 hours.
Yeah, 2 hours in the microwave. Holy shit. You might wreck the bowl. You microwave something for 2 hours.
You might wreck your home. Microwaves ain't meant to run for hours.
I wonder if microwaves have some manner of switch that'll turn them off if they run too long.
Good question. I wonder, yeah.
I think the longest I've ever run my microwave, which is a hell of an amusing anecdote, Marlon, is...
Save this for the end of year special.
I have a microwave rice cooker. Not to bring it back to white rice, but I have a microwave rice cooker, and if you fill it up, it does take 15 minutes. So,
oh no shit! I don't think I've ever ran a microwave for more than 5.
Yeah, it'll run 15 for sure.
Listeners, let us know how long you've ran a microwave.
I'm glad I veered off course to make sure that we looped that into the conversation here.
Hey, you're able to tie together 2 exciting things: microwave use and white rice.
Yeah, I was able to bring it back to white rice. I was able to tell you a story about me. And it applied to the topic of long microwave runtimes, which we were on. So I'm going to call that 3-0, baby. I'm going to call that undefeated.
USA.
Oh, boy. You can tell I don't have a lot going on right now.
The rest of your day is going to be spent ruminating. Possibly at one time in my life, I have used a microwave longer. Just dig it into the recesses of your mind.
Maybe for defrost, which is at a lower heat, but like it runs longer.
Calling old roommates.
Hey man, what do you think was the longest we ever ran a microwave?
Lose my number. Click.
Marlon, we haven't talked in 7 years.
Oh, how's your daughter? She died. Okay, so the microwave.
So what do you figure, like 12 minutes? Maybe? I'm at the funeral. Oh, okay.
Yeah, it happened this weekend.
My B. Yeah, this episode was fine. Like, I don't think it was. I think that the episodes so far, anyway, have each one is less good than the last one.
Yeah, this is definitely the low point for me so far.
Like, they're still fine, still totally serviceable episodes, but I think we started hot with that lacrosse one.
Yeah, I agree. Pretty, I don't know, kind of forgettable, like, but not bad, like not offensive, like.
You didn't charge at your television or anything.
I didn't tip my laptop over in disgust.
This is dumb, so dumb.
This is made a scene in a Caribou Coffee. Get wrestled to the ground by 5 college-age women.
They're already mad at you because you've been playing these at full volume with no earbuds for 2 hours now.
Loudly commenting on everything that happens.
Oh, Kirk Van Houten.
Yeah. Bart loves his skateboard. You gals skateboard?
More biscotti, please. Man, I love a biscotti. I haven't fucked up a biscotti in quite a while.
You are going to have to tell me what a biscotti is.
Oh, it's a coffee shop treat. It's it kind of looks like a breadstick. I'm going to say it's like 6 or 7 inches long. Looks like a big finger. Sometimes might be like chocolate dipped on one end. It's just like a... I think that it is, taste-wise, not that far off from like a shortbread cookie.
That's exactly what I thought of.
Yeah, but it's, it's more porous. It's more like bread than it is cookie. Usually a lot of almond extract, usually pretty heavily almond flavored, at least traditionally. Hard as a rock, meant to dip.
You could build a house frame swinging that thing.
Oh, 100%. I love a biscotti.
I guess I've had nibbles. Someone else has offered me a chunk. I didn't know what the name was. I'm a basic bitch when it comes to coffee treats. It's like they have to have like the kind of baked goods you would see in a cafe to tickle my pickle. Like, oh, look, fresh oatmeal raisin cookies. Oh, look, fresh brownies.
Okay. See, I put those almost in a different category. Like, to me, you find those in a bakery. Like a coffee shop treat is like a biscotti or probably a bagel or maybe a couple different kinds of bagel.
Yeah.
Probably maybe like a lemon poppy seed pound cake slice.
Yeah. Danish. You might get a Danish.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Get a Danish,
cream cheese Danish. Yeah. Yeah. I want the bakery goods. I want a monster cookie. In the end, you will see them at some coffee shops, but it's not.
Yeah. You'll see a proper cookie or maybe some Scotcheroos bars. Yeah. Yep.
You're more of the an everyman when it comes to the Scotcheroo. You will dabble in the gas station Scotcheroo, where I am an elitist.
Brother, I don't dabble. I live in the gas station Scotcheroo. I bet that in the last 10 years I have gone to a gas station that has Scotcheroos and didn't buy Scotcheroos less than 5 times. I bet I can count it on one hand. If I see it's like automatic. Like, see Scotcheroo, buy Scotcheroo.
If I was a man of means, I would pay someone to make a Norman Rockwell-esque painting that's a picture of you in a recliner, sobbing as someone shows you a pile of what your yearly Scotcheroo intake is. It's like a level pickup box trailer full of Scotcheroos.
Or just the wrappers, just the saran wrappers.
You're finally contemplating what it is you've been doing. That can't be right. Well, we've done the numbers, sir. It's
like
it's 99.5% accurate.
Man, a scotcheroo is not good for you. A scotcheroo, like, I would probably be better off buying cigarettes than scotcheroos.
You eat a scotcheroo too fast, you'll get brain freeze. Your body's panicking.
You eat two back to back, you'll get lockjaw like you got tetanus.
You guys like hearing any static electricity? No, man.
No, I think that's the blood in your ears. I think you're hearing your blood. You're not supposed to have that much corn syrup in you. Man, ain't nothing better than a scotcheroo, man.
That's... For me, it's got to be good and homemade. The other ones, like a bad scotcheroo can ruin a weekend for me.
Absolutely,
or even a subpar.
Even the worst scotcheroo is still perfectly fine. I've never had a scotcheroo and thought, "Oh, I should throw this out the window."
Yeah,
I
have.
I just make a note to myself: this place doesn't have the best scotcheroos. I could make a map of the 4-state area that we live in. Yeah. That's like, here's where all the best gas station scotcheroos are.
That's an app someone should make.
Just on the off chance that someone, maybe our international listeners, don't know what a scotcheroo is, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm going to say it's like a Rice Krispie bar with a lot of corn syrup and maybe there's a touch of peanut butter in there. And then usually way too much chocolate frosting on the top. Mm-hmm. Is it a frosting or an icing? I don't always know the difference.
I think that's tough to say. And growing up, I'm still to this day, if I go home, my mom calls them Special K bars.
See, to me, those are two different things. I think a Special K bar is made with flake cereal, and a scotcheroo is made with Rice Krispies.
Yeah, see, it seems like in my area, it's kind of stretched over where anything made with corn syrup and peanut butter with chocolate on top, regardless of the base, is now a Special K bar.
Okay, yeah, regardless of whether or not it's actually Special K cereal in the bar.
Yeah, you're right. I almost forget they even make it with actual flake cereal instead of Krispies. I think Rice Crisps.
I think for me, back home, at least if it's like homemade, like at a potluck or a fucking church function or something, I think more often than not you see the Special K bar as opposed to the scotcheroo.
Interesting. Okay. God, they're good.
Oh my God.
And I'm a take it or leave it guy with Rice Krispie treats.
Oh, like a standard like Rice Krispie and marshmallow? Yeah, take or leave. It's fine. But people make them too thick. They're hard to eat. How are you supposed to eat a fucking Rice Krispie bar that's
Charlie horse in your neck,
4 inches thick, unhinging your jaw, trying to guck it like a fucking pelican?
I was recently eating a triple cheeseburger that I got a Charlie horse in my jaw and in public had to put my palm on my chin and force my mouth shut like a sick horse. Like this, we got to give Buckles more iodine. She ain't doing so hot.
I know exactly the cramp you're talking about because I'll get those every once in a while. Like right in the bottom of your, right in the bottom of your jaw.
Like fucking Wimpy from fucking Popeye. Like you ate too big of a burger, now you're paying for it.
That hurts. That sucks.
Yeah. Oh, very much. It sucks really bad. I hadn't had one in years, and it'll wake you up.
I don't know that I've ever gotten one from eating. Usually mine is I yawn too hard. Yep. Like wake up in the morning. Oh God.
Yeah. Oh God. What a way to start your day.
This is how it is. The cat runs out of the room.
Yeah. It's 11:30 a.m. You haven't got out of bed yet. You're scaring your pets.
So we got a Dotson podcast lined up, and I need to make the Scotcheroo map of North Dakota. We got projects. We got big things happening.
Just got a lot of irons in the fire.
Yeah, big things popping.
Summer's ending. We got time for things like this now.
Yep.
Let's see how the last episode of The Batch holds up. Episode 10, The Nightmare After Christmas. We see an advent calendar right away. Well, this is maybe we've discussed it before, but advent calendars, only a thing on TV.
Only on television. Never once have I seen an advent calendar.
Where do you purchase them? I've never seen one for sale.
Who in the mall do you think would sell an advent calendar?
The Gideon's trumpet, the Jesus fish people.
I was going to say the Hallmark store.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, that could be. I bet if you want a real hard in the paint religious one, you go to Gideon's trumpet, you know.
I didn't know Gideon's trumpet was a real thing, but that's a great fucking store name.
I had a high school buddy that worked at one when we were in college, and my friends would always pile in there and start screaming about needing the biggest Jesus fish possible. What are you going to do to get me into a 4-foot Jesus fish tonight? As if they worked on commission. This job pays $7.25 an hour. Yeah, it's a bunch of guys in suits drinking black coffee, griping about how no one's buying Jesus fish that winter.
We got to move some bumper stickers today, or I ain't gonna be able to pay my rent.
Yeah.
This is probably pushing 10 years ago. I was still working at the strip club at the time, and the employees at the strip club for Halloween had to dress up. It was mandatory that you wear a costume if you were working Halloween weekend. And so I had to wear a costume, and I didn't want to put a lot of work into it. I was like, oh, priest is an easy costume. You know, if you want to really be fucking dirt dog about it, you just wear a black shirt and put a fucking piece of white paper in your collar. But I was like, there was also they gave out money for the best employee Halloween costumes. I'm like, well, let's see what it would take to kind of go over the top a little bit. And I went to that fucking, it's down on University, the Catholic supply store. It's just south of 13th on the University. And I went in there and I was like, oh, I can get like whatever the weird scarf is, or maybe a robe. Like, there was a time in my life I probably knew what those were called, but I was like, let's literally church it up a bit. Outside chance, maybe we got a fun bishop's hat or something.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah.
And I went in there and explained what I wanted. And like, I had a fucking mohawk at the time, and this lady is like giving me the eye, like, who the fuck is this fucking guy? And she's like, oh yeah, we have all that kind of thing. Can I see your card? And that place isn't a place where anyone can shop. That's a place where you have to present your like diocese identification card to be able to shop there, like a churchy Sam's Club.
Yeah, no shit.
And I was like, what card? And she's like, your diocese card? She's like, are you not a priest? I was like, no, absolutely not. I just want like an authentic Halloween costume. And she politely but firmly asked me to leave.
Really?
Yeah.
No, I would have assumed anyone could go in there and buy whatever their little hearts had.
Same here, with no sense of like, oh, that's okay, sweetie, it's an honest mistake. But like, well, I'm afraid I'm going to insist that you leave. And I was like, Jesus, what's going on back there? Like, I immediately had questions then. But I politely left. I was like, okay, this isn't fun. Okay, no fun zone. Got it.
You ain't got to worry about that at Gideon's Trumpet. They like Jesus, but cash money is what pays the bills. You can buy a fucking Jesus fish and shove it up your ass in the mall hallway. They don't give a fuck. You're out of their store, baby. That's your Jesus fish. Do what you want.
I bet someone, though, at the mall gonna have an issue with you stuffing a Jesus fish up your ass in the common hallway.
Yeah, the guy, you're standing 3 feet away from the sunglasses hut.
Got a fist up bracing on the fucking cell phone case kiosk, trying to bird dog this Jesus fish vehicle badge.
Oof, that dorsal fin would do some van damage.
Sure, the one end's pointed, so it makes sense. It's kind of rocket ship shaped. Like, okay, you get to that tail, you get to the fins, you're gonna get cut up. You're gonna get cut up pretty bad.
Going in ain't bad. It's going out.
You go to the hospital to get that out of you. You
have a pro take it out.
And it's probably going to be bizarre enough that the people in the emergency room are going to take some photos. They're going to be like, oh, look at this, for their own private Reddit.
It's like a birthing video. Like, they don't know what it is. They're just in there with needle nose pliers. Like, uh-oh, it's a big one. Go get Sandy from the kitchen. She's going to want to see this.
They're making copies of that x-ray, sending it to all their buddies. Look at this.
He has risen.
You think this is related to the guy that had the coexist up his ass? That was way worse. Don't put vehicle badges in yourself.
With attendance dwindling, the church elders and parsons hold an intervention for Reverend Lovejoy, because I think he says, it's like, well, this is supposed to be, or actually it's maybe Marge. It's like the fourth week of Advent. Church should be packed, and it's just a skeleton crew.
It's church season.
Yeah. And so Lovejoy's got all of his costume. I'm sure there's another term for it, but he's in his preacher streetwear, but then he is thinking he's going to leave, but actually they're going to have an intervention for him. It is his wife. It is Ned. It's, the Skinner's mom.
Yep.
And what's his name? Sideshow Mel.
Yep.
And then we get the Parsons.
That Bing Crosby Parson.
Yeah. And then also some guy that's like the Parsons' boss too. Like,
yeah.
So they're having a talk with him like, hey man, you're kind of losing your touch. You need to do this. Got to get numbers up. And I think it's the Parsons kind of has a come to Jesus, literally and figuratively, meeting with him. It's like, when is the last time you converted a soul? And he couldn't think of an answer. So it's like, you got to be out there and got to be a fisher of man. Yep. Go out there.
Coffee's for closers.
Yeah. His list of people in town that he can convert is pretty good. It's is it Mr. Land? Oh, it's the music teacher. That's the first person he goes to.
Yep.
And then it's him, it's Apu. I think comic book guy's on the list, but I don't think we see that. When he goes to Apu, I think Apu's line is, our nonsense is so much better than your nonsense, which is such a good line.
Such a great joke.
Yeah.
He pulls out that fucking, that idol of the multi-armed elephant god or whatever it is, sets it on the counter like, look at him. He could be a Pixar hero.
Yeah.
That's so good.
That is true. That shit's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd watch that movie.
No dude in the Bible has tusks. Like, I can figure that shit out, Bible. Get some cool fucking enemy heroes and villains. We need some new ones.
Pre-Christian religions were so much cooler. Like, as far as pizzazz goes.
Yeah.
Like, the Norse, the Greeks, the fucking Egyptians got it right from the get-go.
Yeah. There's people with cat heads, cats with people heads having a good time.
This one's a talking crocodile. That's that's somebody whose necklace you wear. I forget her name. There's an Egyptian goddess that is just a topless gal with her titties out who has a cat head. Like, that's a deity.
Barely any titties on our gods. They're all dudes.
Not a lot of titties in Christianity. That's complaint one.
Yeah. So during all this, the Simpson family attends, I don't know if there's a name, but it's like a pagan holiday festival.
Yep.
And
exactly.
We get some good sight gags of the different things going on at said pagan holiday festival.
Groundskeeper Willie plunges his hand into that snowman's chest and pulls out its frozen heart and eats it.
Yeah, that was good. I think, was Willie on the list of the possible converts too? I think he was at the bottom.
I think you might be right, yeah.
I would assume he was Catholic.
Oh, I suppose,
Seems
yeah.
like
It's a safe
something he would have from the old country. But
a lot of pagan shit out there in the British Isles,
that's
too.
true. Fucking Stonehenge, you know?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
The Wicker Man, you know, that's Scottish.
Right? Yeah. So they are looking at all the different sites and all the rando shit at this festival. And they stumble, I think they're on the beach. They see what is called a strand beast, which is this fucking multi-piece balsa wood wind-powered robot thing.
Yep. Those are real.
I Googled. That's real. And the Dutch inventor, that's a Dutch artist that is there on the beach is also real.
Yep.
And he's explaining how it works. It's all wind powered. And then the wind really picks up and the strand beast is running amok. And he says, like, it's only designed for our pleasant European breezes. And it's just, I mean, it's like a 10 different foot, basically like 10 sets of legs that are made of wood powered by a sail. So it's just hauling ass across the beach.
They're fucking, they're cool looking. If you looked up videos of some of them, the kinetic sculptures, yeah, they're rad looking. And
there's like multiple different versions of it. Yeah, it's some cool shit.
Yeah, very cool.
And then cut to Krusty and his goddamn daughter Sophie, who we have not seen since season 12.
Amazing. I knew it had been a long time, but I didn't know it was that long.
Or if we've seen her, it has been a blink and you miss it. And I don't even remember it. But she debuted in season 12.
Yeah, and I don't know that we've seen her since.
Yeah. Anyone famous doing her voice?
It's, redheaded gal. She's the star of Russian Doll. She's in one of the Blade movies.
She also in American Pie.
Yes, she's like she's not the flute
Natasha
gal.
Lyonne.
There you go, Natasha Lyonne.
Yeah,
we got there. Ooh, Jesus. What else would I know her from? Because I've never seen Russian Doll. I just know that she's the star of it.
Yeah, I know her from the American Pie movies.
Yeah, that's probably where I.
She's like the streetwise girl that's friends with all the other girls.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she's the voice of Sophie.
So Sophie and Krusty are skating. And it must be like Krusty's weekend with Sophie, and they're having a decent time. And that's when the goddamn strand beast steps on Krusty 25 times. he gets the shit kicked out of him.
He even says when we first cut to them and they're just skating out on that open ice, he just apropos of nothing, just offhandedly mentions, watch out for strand beasts. Like this is just a thing he is aware to be careful of.
And I think they both laugh like, oh, that could never happen. It immediately happens.
It's so good.
Yeah, that was good. So he's recuperating. For some reason, the Simpsons are there too. I can't remember. Were they the ones that came upon the injured Krusty, perhaps?
Yeah.
But away, they're there.
They're at the thing, I think, kind of at Lisa's behest. Like, I think it's Lisa who is the one who's more into this. Because
Marge is very critical of it. Marge doesn't like it. So they're in the hospital room. Krusty's been stabilized, but he's still bedridden, and he has a talk with Sophie. And that's where Sophie's like, well, I wanted to spend Christmas with you. That sounds like such a fun thing. And he's like, Christmas? He's like, we're Jewish. Like, Christmas is just any other day for me.
Yep.
And she's like, well, my mom raises me Christian. And we get like a lot of Krusty hemming and hawing and being verklept, I think would be the proper term.
Ooh, good word.
Yeah. He doesn't know how to handle this. And Marge is just eavesdropping. She overhears it and invites them over for Christmas.
Yeah.
And what's going to be the B story? It's right after this. Marge also introduces the gnome in your home to Maggie. And Maggie is justifiably terrified by it. Because that is not a pleasant idea. Like,
right.
A doll, eyes wide open, staring at you as you sleep.
Yep. That, like, watches you to make sure you're good. And in this case, punishes you if you're bad.
And like the moving it around the house. Haven't these fucking people seen Poltergeist?
Right. Yeah. The fact that Elf on a Shelf is like a real thing that I don't know if it's most, but at least a lot of parents do. Terrifying. Fuck that
insane.
shit.
Yeah, like these are the people that have been able to sleep soundly every night since they were 18 months old. Like it's just nothing's ever bothered them. Just go right to sleep. Like
we do get a lot of
yeah.
like this B story is kind of whatever. I think this episode is kind of whatever, but like we get a lot of terrified Maggie, and terrified Maggie is pretty adorable.
Yeah,
like wringing her hands, sucking her pacifier real fast with her eyes wide. Like it's a cute visual.
Yeah, we get some very good Maggie visuals. It's like the interaction between her and this thing are pretty good.
Yeah.
So Krusty and Sophie do as they say. They come over to the Simpsons for Christmas and saw it coming a million miles away, but it was still funny. Krusty, of course, tries to spin it into some kind of Krusty Christmas television special, like dragging a sound and a film crew through everything and like fitting in product placement, like giving advertising. So good. Just good piece of shit Krusty. We haven't had piece of shit Krusty in a while.
Yeah,
like,
piece of shit showman Krusty. Like anything for a buck. Everything is the show.
Like he wants Sophie to sit on his lap and talk like say what she wants for Christmas, and she refuses. So they put the fucking monkey on his lap, and they're gonna green screen her in later. That was pretty good.
And we get that clip of the post production where they've inserted her into the shot, and it's her screaming and flipping out and swinging from the light fixture.
yeah, that was very good. So eventually, enough is enough, and a very angry Sophie kicks Krusty out. And he's out on the street. He's sad. He knows he failed as a father. Meanwhile, Lovejoy has been out on these streets. That's where he went to the music teacher. He went to Apu, where we get, again, our nonsense is so much better than your nonsense.
Yeah, it's so good.
Bummed enough that we see Lovejoy go tie one on at Moe's, which count on one hand how many times Lovejoy's had a drink at Moe's, I bet.
You're right.
So
yeah, he's not in there very often.
And he knows he failed, and then he's like, well, I don't know who else I can get to. And that's when a crestfallen Krusty walks in, and Lovejoy's preacher antenna goes up because he sees a lost soul that he can save. And by God, if Krusty isn't receptive, because I think he sees what he thinks is an angel, but it's just Snake getting tased outside of the bar.
Outside of the window. Yeah. It's very good.
Which I like that Lou is like, hey, Chief, isn't this enough? I don't think even Lou would fucking shed a tear for Snake. Snake has been a real piece of shit to the cops for a very long time.
But Lou, like, I agree, but Lou might be the only cop who is an actual cop,
Yeah, that's true.
Who's even close to being a real cop.
That other cop is almost irrelevant on the show. We so rarely see the other cop.
Yeah, and he almost never speaks, maybe like a grunt and a nod, to the point where I forget that cop's name. That cop has a name.
Does it really? Oh, it. Does it really?
That's indicative of how much love and screen time he gets.
Yeah.
Holy fuck.
Occasionally it's like, yeah, Chief. He's got like a soft, sort of low, slow voice. Like usually it's he does the thing that Lou does when it's like, oh, I don't know about that, Chief Wiggum. Like it's just basically questioning Wiggum's poor decisions.
Yep, as a jumping off point for Wiggum to get a joke in. Yep.
Yeah. So Maggie's having like hallucinations about the goddamn elf on the shelf trying to attack her and stuff, and Marge and Homer, fucking tone deaf as can be, get Maggie even more gnome in your home type dolls, because they make a whole line of them.
Yeah,
it's like see while you pee or something like that. So I'm like, I don't like that at all. That's not cool.
That's what she gets for Christmas.
Yeah. And Marge and Homer go to bed to find those dolls beheaded in the bed.
Yeah, cut up with Marge's paper cutter.
Yeah. So
Maggie grabs it right away under the tree, and Homer's like, no, that's your mom's Christmas present. What kind of man gets his wife a paper cutter?
like a industrial office paper cutter. Like,
yeah, one that's in your school, but only one, and it's down in the office.
Yeah, I guess maybe you're really into crafting. Maybe that's something you need. I don't know. I'm trying to throw Homer a lifeline here.
I'm trying, Homer.
So Maggie is now sleeping soundly that all those dolls have been beheaded. Krusty has now leaned hard into the Christianity skid. He is very much a believer now. So much so that his fucking TV show sucks now.
Yeah,
like the gag is him like doing the show as it is now. We get a really super Christian-y, itchy and scratchy. We do get a Poochie appearance though.
Motherfucking Poochie shows up.
Poochie's also follows the Lord.
I think that's a good joke that like, oh, the show sucks now, so Poochie is back. Mm-hmm. You know, like that is indicative that the show sucks now.
And also, we see.
Also, not.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Also, not the first time we have done a, like, Krusty's show sucks now. Like, we for sure did it once before, a long fucking time ago, because we got that real weird love, itchy and scratchy episode.
Yep. I think there's one where, like, the censors get after them.
Oh,
and
sure,
there's been once or twice where someone else is in charge of the show.
Okay, yep.
Like there's the one where there's that like kind of like a princess type character early episode, and she becomes super popular, so the show it becomes more based off her. Yep. That might be the love one.
Like the Krusty show has been through some peaks and valleys.
Yeah, that show would. No child in 2022 would watch that show. Like, that is such 1960s programming. Like,
even back then, you know, this is 2016. No kid knew what this was. No adult knew what this was.
This shit was dated in 1989. Like, I think we were getting towards the end of the Bozo the Clown show being on WGN around that time.
Right. And like the adult versions had been off the air forever too. The Ed Sullivans and those type of shows.
Like the variety show, yeah. So, but the whole time the show sucks, Sophie's thrilled because she knows that means her dad's making an effort. So she's happy. But, and you know who else is happy? Goddamn Reverend Lovejoy.
Hell he is
feeling himself. Sitting in maybe his little hangout area in the church, the preacher fucking clubhouse. But
probably
the
not
Parsons
what it's called.
is there. Do you know what is it?
Oh, I don't know. I'm just saying. That's probably I thought you said what it's called.
Yeah, yeah. There's probably some draconian name for it.
Yeah.
The Parsons lets him know, like, hey, easy now. Like this deal isn't sealed until you get him baptized. And he's like, well, he wanted to wait till there's a gag there. Like he wanted to wait till the summer or something like that.
Because Krusty insists on doing it old school in the river, but that's frozen, so I got to wait until spring. And the Parsons says, oh, I thought you were a closer, Lovejoy.
So cut to them. They've chopped a hole in the ice. And Krusty, again, true believer. He's ready. You know, he's there. He's ready to go. He says a few things before he can finish. He falls through the ice. And it's okay, they're going to take care of it real quick. But he gets sucked under the ice, which is fucking terrifying. And everyone's laughing. And as he goes by, everyone's laughing like it's a fucking goof.
Yeah, like it's Jesus a pratfall.
Yeah. So he's going to die. Like he's trapped under the ice. He has a vision. He's in some kind of like ice palace. And his dad comes to him in the form of the little comic relief snowman from Frozen.
Yeah.
You know, I can't think of Gunter or something like that. Like
Olaf, I think.
Olaf, there you go. Yep. And he's talking to him about like this and that and this. And he's like, well, you know, your religion doesn't affect what kind of parent you are. It's this and that and this and that. So like, which I found was interesting. I thought it was going to be all him, you know, chastising Krusty for not being Jewish anymore.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, it's a nice little like, you just fucking be a good dad kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was...
it's fun. Also, the moose from Frozen is there too, and he's like, "Well, then who's the moose supposed to be?" And it morphs into Krusty's first agent, and Krusty starts to talk to him, and then that agent answers his phone and walks out of frame just unceremoniously, and then just a moment later goes walking past in the background with his arm around Bob Hope. They're walking through the scene.
And Krusty's like, that checks out. That's how I was treated when he was alive. Yeah. And after that, everything's kind of hunky-dory. Like, Krusty and Sophie still are getting along very well. And we do get Starfish Maggie running over a bunch of gnome dolls with a riding mower. Yeah. Which that was a great visual.
Yeah, that's fun.
Can't get enough Starfish Maggie.
Nope. Starfish Maggie is the star of this show.
I think, in a rarity, I enjoy this episode more than you.
Yeah, I didn't much care for this one.
I put this second on the list, or maybe third.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I was, again, didn't hate it, but I was certainly sitting here like, okay, yeah, it's fine. It's the Christmas one. I also we've talked about from the beginning of this show, I am usually by default not a fan of a Christmas episode or a Christmas special or a Christmas, like, not to sound like a fucking Scrooge, but I'm not a big Christmas person.
Yeah, and I am, so I always lean in. I like the holiday ones. I like I like the Halloween, and I like the Christmas episodes.
Yeah, I'm always game for a Halloween episode, but I can usually take or leave a Christmas one.
We just had one recently, but we very rarely get an actual Simpsons Halloween episode because they just dedicate Treehouse of Horror to that.
Yeah, we got one last season in season 27. Yeah.
I bet the writers are like, yeah, we'd like to do a off the rails Halloween episode. That's an actual real story about the Simpsons. Like,
yeah, and it was season 27 where they were able to do that for the first time, and that's only at the fresh in my mind because it was announced like last week or the week before maybe that they're doing they're going to do that again this season. Like season 34 is going to have like a dedicated Halloween episode in addition to the Treehouse episode.
Oh, interesting.
They're doing they're doing Stephen King's It as a full episode of The Simpsons.
God, Sideshow Bob's got to be Pennywise, right? Just for the head alone.
No, it's Krusty.
Oh, Jesus, yeah. It's the clown on the show.
Clown on the show.
That was just in this episode.
The one who this episode has been about.
It's just hard. Krusty's so apathetic. It's hard to imagine him having the energy to kill children.
I saw, like, when I saw the tweet, it came with a couple of pictures, and one of them is Krusty as Pennywise. And we got some screenshots of both. They're going to do like the new movies do, where some of it is them as kids and some is them as adults. So,
okay.
It looks like it could be fun.
That sounds fun. I'm into that. I'll watch it in 6 months or however long it'll be down the road before we get to it.
Yeah, however long it takes us to fucking get there.
Yeah.
Well, it'll probably be around this time next year because season 33 of The Simpsons is just hitting Disney Plus now.
Ah, okay.
Like it hits Disney. Good point. It hits Disney Plus about the time the new season fires up.
Interesting. Okay.
So we're gonna have some months to fill in between there. We gotta get It's Elementary, My Dear Dotson off the ground. We gotta start making plans now, Nathan.
Or just fill in with replay the same America's Barley Basket sizzle reel during
nothing but best
our greatest hits. Yeah. Retrospectives. You know what? They have clip shows. We can have clip shows
for 5 months in a row. No new content.
Say, Marlon, what are you eating there? Well, I'm eating a Clark bar. Oh, interesting. It seems like we've discussed candy bars on this podcast before that have like dream music.
Just a long sequence of all of us talking. I think it would be depressing to find out that if you totaled up all of our time talking about candy, that it would probably fill a full episode of this show.
Fuck. Yeah, and not even just sweets. That would be too long. We could do a solid 90 on gas station candy.
Yep.
And another hour on baked goods. And
at least another 90 on cereal.
Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. Say, Marlon, what you eating there? A bowl of Cookie Crisp. Why'd you ask? We sure have had some nutty adventures on this podcast. Many of which involve cereal.
Let's pour ourselves a bowl of the cereal episode. Oh, hi, Nathan. I didn't see you there. As cheese dick as possible.
Yeah.
Just every week release that clip of you freaking out about MC Hammer's hammer. Just repeat it.
It always ends in that, no matter what the theme is.
On a fucking loop. I was reminded of the MC Hammer thing by a friend pretty recently. Terrifying amount of horn.
And the smallest little boy shorts. He might be wearing a thong. It's ridiculous.
That ain't all Hammer. Ain't no way.
Well, that's all Hammer. Arsenio is skeptical. What's going on there? What do you mean? That ain't Hammer. That's all Hammer.
That ain't all Hammer. I listened to Pumps and a Bump not 24 hours ago. That song whips fucking ass. It's good. It's real good.
Whew.
Whew, we did it. Another episode in the bag. Let's do it again next week. 11 to 15 of season 28 is the assignment for next week. You could find us on the internet at Barley Basket USA on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. BarleyBasketUSA@gmail.com is the email address. Go leave a review if you haven't yet. If you're thinking about it, if you're not like driving or something crazy right now, go leave us a review and tell us that you like the show.
We'd appreciate it.
You can not only find us here next week, but you can find us this weekend telling jokes.
What?
We're out on the road. We're going to be telling some fun goofs this Saturday, October 15th at Cottonwood and Shipwreck in Yankton, South Dakota. And this Sunday, October 16th at the Zoo Bar in Lincoln, Nebraska.
Come on out. See us in the flesh.
Yeah, we're making the drive. We're making the drive. So can you. If you have anyone who lives within 9 hours of either of those cities, tell them to go to the show. That's how far we're driving. They could drive to see it, right? That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
But yes, that'd be wonderful if you could come to the shows. Yankton, South Dakota on Saturday, Lincoln, Nebraska on Sunday.
We'll see you there.
And we'll see you next week.
Bye, everybody.